This is the Perfect Being. I'm here to tell you all to subscribe to the perfect channel, UnrealEntGaming. Please remember to turn on your notifications to be the first to know about the latest in Dragon Ball news and information. And if you don't, very soon you will all be dead, along with your entire planet.
The Tournament of Power continues as Dragon Ball Super airs its 100th episode, celebrating its milestone by having the Universe 6 Saiyans attack as Son Goku engages against Caulifla as Super Saiyan 2s, all while Kaba targets Vegeta while Hit focuses in on attacking Universe 3, and Kale unleashes her massive Berserker power as she rampages through various fighters until she encounters Goku in combat. What's going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super episode 100 review entitled Out of Control, the Savage Berserker Awakens, leading into next week's exciting episode of Dragon Ball Super episode 101, in which is going to ultimately build in having Universe 6 and 7 work together momentarily to combat the likes of the Pride Troopers, in which this episode pretty much focuses in on Universe 6 versus Universe 7 prior to them working together in order to battle against the common enemy. And a quick plug before we begin: if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel. Hashtag notification squad. And if you guys are not following me at Twitter, be sure to go on ahead and follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming to stay up to date with all the latest in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Super episode 100 is now officially in the history books, and we finally come a long way into 100 episodes in the series, as many people originally thought that Dragon Ball Super was going to end at episode 100, but judging based to accordance, it looks like this is only the beginning of many awesome things to come. So we start the episode off exactly where we left off, with Android 18 having to chew out Krillin and having to get eliminated first. And what I loved about this moment the most was how we see Champa taunting Beerus and saying this is the beginning of the demise of Universe number 7. So 18 is chewing out Krillin, Beerus is beginning to worry, and Vegeta is fighting off Botamo and Magetta until Kabe arrives. And what I loved about this is how we see one of the other Universal fighters charge towards Kabe's direction, and Kabe one-shots him out of the ring, which this is what I wanted to see from Kabe, because thus far we've seen how, Kabe was made inferior to the girls, in which they have to build up Caulifla and Kale, but thus far in the entire tournament we haven't seen anything from Kabe until we actually see him foderize one person out the ring directly. And even then we also get to see Hit demolishing Nariyama. He literally took off his hands, and Nariyama is still trying to attack Hit, and it is confirmed based on what Hit did that time skip does still exist in the world of Void, as Hit performed the time skip against Nariyama, completely knocking him out the ring and having to face off against Universe number 3. And this entire time that Hit's using time skip, the Universe 3 Kaioshin is very worried, and right from the start, guys, it's all out anarchy. I mean, what a way to celebrate 100 episodes. And even then we see Kale, so it's transitioning from Kabe to Hit to Kale, and even then we see how Kale steps on Napapa's toe, and right behind her she sees him, and then he begins to wail up on her as Kale at that given point is grabbed by her ponytail. She's lifted up, and we see how this big ass Porky the Pig looking dude is grabbing her and then punching her in her back. So Kale at this point isn't really fighting back. She's still worried, she's afraid, she's frail. Obviously enough, she doesn't want to start trouble, but she's being heavily attacked by not just one character but two characters simultaneously, which, having to look at it, I kind of felt bad for Kale. But we see how Napapa picks up Kale and he says, from now on you'll be our human punching bag, and that's exactly what goes down. And in which case we see Caulifla save Kale and telling her, you have to unleash your power. And if it were not for Caulifla, I mean, God knows what would have happened to Kale. So we see her jump in and she's helping out her protege, I mean, as any master would, and she tells her to ignite her power. And we see Caulifla transform into a Super Saiyan, in which she also begins to take charge. And again, I love the overall utilization of Caulifla and Kale in this episode and having them work together, at least Caulifla having to make the save for Kale and keeping her in check. And even then we get to see Caulifla engage in combat against Napapa as she charges right in, and Napapa, you have to give him credit. I mean, he could have easily got foderized, but he didn't at first, until of course we see Caulifla pretty much use her own weight against him in smashing Napapa on down to the ground, in which causes him to be eliminated as she stands next to the ring. And she even approaches Kale afterwards, powering down, in telling Kale that she needs to unleash her power. Why didn't you use your full power? I have faith in you. Go on ahead and take everyone out who actually confronts you in any sort of combat. And then she says, you know, I want you to go on ahead and take that guy out. So she points at Goku, and Goku the entire time, he's fighting the Yard Rat. So everyone was making a big deal of this Yard Rat. He's using instant transmission, and Goku's trying to catch him, and Caulifla just like bodies him right off the start. So he turns around, he sees the girls, he sees Caulifla, he sees Kale, and Caulifla thinks that Goku is underestimating them as we see them exchange words. And then Kale actually, you know, she tells Kale to transform, and Kale can't. So Caulifla actually, you know, goes all beefy instead, in which case we saw the image leaked about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, in which many people originally thought it was photoshopped, but it turns out that it wasn't, because the entire time we see Kale trying to transform into her Berserker-like mode. We see that she couldn't do it, and Kale actually demonstrates for her. So again, that image wasn't fake, as you guys saw in this episode. Caulifla is like this like Mace Windu Jedi-like character, man. She can do like basically anything. We see her power up from a Super Saiyan, and then she increased her muscle mass. I mean, it's crazy to even see that. I mean, even her boobs grew, so it was insane to even see that. So again, as I told you guys before, the image was real, as seen by Fuji TV, and Goku's actually very, very impressed by seeing Caulifla get all beefy. Again, it looked really weird on her, as we've seen prior to Dragon Ball Z. We saw Vegeta, Goku, and Trunks actually achieve a similar like form, but even then, we see how Caulifla charges on in, and she's trying to attack Goku, but it looks like Goku is a bit too fast for her, in which again, as she was on the ground, we see how she powers back down. Even though she remains in her Super Saiyan form, we see how Goku pretty much shows off Super Saiyan 2, and Caulifla doesn't seem to know what it is, because as Goku shows off Super Saiyan 2, Caulifla seems to be a tad bit surprised. So it's like she's learning from Goku, and it's really weird, because Goku's the type of character to learn during the course of battle, and to a degree, it's like he's teaching her. And even then, as Goku is trying to explain to her as to the stages of Super Saiyan, we see how Caulifla actually transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, and then he even says, and here's the kicker, right? Goku tells her with enough practice, she can actually go Super Saiyan 3 eventually. So it really wouldn't surprise me to see that, considering the fact that Goku explained to her if she continuously practices to do this, she can actually achieve a higher form as well. And ironically enough, we also get to see how Caulifla and Goku are kind of conversating, and Beerus is telling Goku to pretty much cut the crap and engage against Caulifla. And again, the entire episode midway through is just amazing as Caulifla transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, and that's when we get to see Caulifla and Goku engage in combat. And Caulifla having to be an inexperienced Super Saiyan 2 going up against a very experienced Super Saiyan 2 Goku, it was a little surprising to see, because even during the course of battle, we get to see how Caulifla's asking Kale to jump on in to see if she can actually transform, and in the background, Kale is trying her best to do whatever she can to help out Caulifla, and Caulifla and Goku's combat engagement was absolutely amazing, and again, Goku did have the upper hand. However, Caulifla was keeping up, and even to the point where Goku kicked Caulifla all the way up until Kale, we see how she smiles, in which she seems very unfazed by Goku as she actually engages him after she gets kicked back, and Kale is watching all of this go down, which I personally enjoyed, but it was at that given moment as she's watching them that she begins to get very, very angry. So she's letting off a couple of blasts, and Goku blocks it with ease, and that's when Goku pretty much taunts her, and Kale right then and there grows very envious of Goku, because at first, she's very down and out, she's very sad, until we see Goku engage more with Caulifla, and then she begins to tap into that emotion, into that anger, and saying, "Son Goku." She grabs onto her skirt, and we see how she's very angry. Her fists are clenching onto her own skirt, and then right then and there, she finally transforms. And then even right there, it was at that moment after she transformed that even Hit told Caulifla, "You have awakened something very terrible." And seemingly enough, as she's crying, you know, we get to see how Goku and Vegeta are very surprised on Kale's ki. Now, again, Goku and Vegeta should not be surprised in my opinion, considering the fact that they are stronger, much more powerful than Kale would ever be, but it was because of Kale crying, it was because of her emotions and not being able to do anything that allowed her to transform. And the best part was, as she was transforming, everyone stopped in seeing what was happening. We see her hair float up in the air, there was lightning and thunder all around her for whatever reason, we see her get more beefed up, and that was when she fully transformed, and everyone having to take notice, because even right then and there we get to see Kabe and Vegeta. They stopped fighting as Kale, we have smoke coming out of Kale's mouth, which was insane. So she rushes towards Goku, she hits him so hard that, you know, we see Goku pretty much, you know, break the dirt behind him, and even Hit, because Hit pretty much time skipped to save Caulifla, because as she went flying up in the air, you know, he stopped her momentarily, which I thought was amazing, because that just goes to show that Hit can actually use time skip to prevent his teammates from falling out the ring. And it was at that very moment we see Goku casually walking up to her, and again, I had this very cheesy moment of Broly and Goku from the first film, because as Kale is walking, yo, she's breaking the ground, and she's massive. She is absolutely massive, and everyone takes notice. There was not a single character that did not take notice of Kale, and as she's punching Goku, obviously enough at first, she's unable to catch him, she's launching energy attacks at him, and then finally she grabs his foot, and as she grabs his foot, she does the Bruce Banner X Loki attack from the Avengers. She grabs him, and she's smashing Goku all throughout the ring. Of course, Goku seems undamaged, but she grabs him, she's breaking him all throughout the rocks. Goku is having a very difficult time in trying to avoid her. She grabs his face, she's mushing him in the ground, and again, even though Super Saiyan 2 Goku is pretty much, you know, trying his best against Kale, it looks like Kale actually is getting the better of Goku as she's grabbing him and thrashing him. I mean, absolute thrashment going on. She beats him down. Again, very similar to Broly, except I think this time Kale actually did a little bit more than Broly until Goku went Super Saiyan Blue. And after Goku went Super Saiyan Blue, that's when Kale took notice, and that's when Goku practically said, okay, you want me at my best, then you got me. And then right then and there, we see how Kale pretty much tries to engage with Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and she's walking towards him. She's walking towards him as Goku is cocking back for the Kamehameha wave, but this is what really stumped me. Goku uses the Kamehameha wave in his Super Saiyan Blue form, and guess what? Kale is walking right towards him, very similar to the first Broly movie, because if you guys remember how, you know, Broly said, what was that supposed to be, Goku? She did the exact same thing, which I thought was the biggest ass pull in this entire episode. I'm sorry to say, but that should not have happened in the least. And seeing her tank a Super Saiyan Blue Kamehameha, that right there should not have happened at all, because as I was watching this, I said to myself, holy shit, she's really gonna tank him, and she did. And then just as she jumps up, she unleashes all of these energy blasts, in which messes up everybody. The ring is broken, Goku even powers down, you know, back to base form, and then all of a sudden Goku looks up, and she's gone, and she emerges from the rubble, she emerges from the rocks, and she's walking around. Vegeta's concerned, everyone's concerned, and even Vegeta says, like, wow, like, you know, she really means trouble. And the one Charmander Pride Trooper pretty much shoots this lasso at her and wrapping her up, and we see how it has little to no effect on her, because it was at that given point where, you know, she notices the Charmander looking, you know, Pride Trooper, and she breaks out of this lasso. And again, I do like the concept of Kale, but this Charmander dude, he was so shaken. So as she's about to punch him, out of nowhere, the Omni King pretty much points, and he notices that the Charmander dude has been eliminated. So she knocks him out, she's roaring in the ring, and as she's roaring, the other Pride Troopers are taking notice, especially Jiren, as Jiren is the first one front and center. He gets up, and he opens up his eyes, and this is what did it for me. So we actually get to see how Hit is very concerned about the Pride Troopers, because it was at that given point she begins to roar, she begins to yell out, she begins to cry out, and right towards the end of the episode is when I lost my shit, because Jiren stepped in and he literally blew Kale away. All he pretty much did was one-shot her, and with this one shot, she was gone. She was out of there. So that's the effectiveness of Jiren, because as he shot her, actually she didn't, you know, get ringed out. She actually dropped down. Now, that was when Hit and Jiren had the most epic showdown ever, in which Son Goku actually interfered, and the best part was the ending, because Jiren's there, Hit's there, and Goku's there, and Goku slowly approaches Jiren as the episode cuts off, because they teased the momentary battle in Jiren and Goku just before Hit leaves. So it was absolutely intense. I mean, the only thing I did not like was the Super Saiyan Blue tanking, because that was like the biggest load of BS. But I'm gonna rant more about that in my breakdown review. But either way, this was an episode that I think was noteworthy, the best one yet within the Tournament of Power. I mean, just by far. But I would like to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. What are your overall thoughts on seeing Hit display his power against Universe 3? What are your overall thoughts on seeing Goku engage in combat against Kale? What are your overall thoughts on Kale's power? And what are your overall thoughts on seeing the carnage in this episode? I'm gonna have to say that this episode was far better than last week's episode, because I felt as if last week's episode was a complete letdown in having to expose Krillin's power and him not doing anything in the sword. I think that this episode definitely capitalized on the usage of Kale, on the usage of Caulifla, and seeing complete and utter chaos all throughout the tournament stage. So post your comments down below. What were some of your favorite moments? And if you had any other gripes about the episode, what were some things about the episode that you guys did not like? Let me know down below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, if you guys enjoyed Dragon Ball, don't forget to go on ahead and leave a like down below. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.